All right. So this afternoon's Tuckshop networking meeting is all about simple swaps and healthicizing your menu. Before we get too carried away, as always, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the lands across Australia, and their connections to land, sea, and community. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Torres Strait and Aboriginal Island people here today. I recognise that Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander peoples have their own unique languages, beliefs, cultural practices, traditions, diversity, all within each culture. And I also just sometimes I feel like acknowledgement of countries can become a little bit routine. And so I just like to think of it as men and women across the country have been meeting on these lands for centuries to share ideas about how they can improve the health of their community. So I hope that we honour that and that we continue doing that as well. So that's me. I'm Naomi. I'm the project officer for the Healthier Tuckshop program. If you haven't met me yet, I am a dietitian by trade, and completed my studies after working as a registered nurse and in recruitment for many years all around the country. My areas of interest really are community, and working with individuals and teams to support them to encourage healthier lifestyles. You can find me at Quast on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and there are my contact details. I will email through everybody at the end of the session or within the next few days anyway, so you can keep my contact details handy. I've also just found out too that my mobile number, for some bizarre reason, is not taking incoming calls. So while we're looking into that, it can receive text messages. So feel free to send me a text message, and then I can give you a call back, or you can just ring the Quast office and get to me that way. So if you haven't been to one of these sessions before, the format that we tend to follow tends to be we go through a quick update on Quast. I give you some information about training and new resources that are available. We talk about the topic of the day, which is simple swaps and healthicizing your menu. We will have question and answer pending time. If we do run out of time, I'm more than happy to answer your questions on Facebook, on the Facebook group, via email or over the phone. Just reach out. And I do just want to remind everybody that the program, that the meeting is being recorded. And so, yep, just stay on mute while you can throughout the recording, as it does pick up lots of external background noise on that recording. But if you have a question, absolutely come off mute and ask the question. I'm more than happy, for this to be more of an interactive session, not just me talking your ears off. So in terms of a bit of a Quast update, so last week a new resource hit the website all about Harmony Day. And then I've got a few others in draft that I'm just waiting on approval from Health and Wellbeing Queensland. So hopefully there'll be a few new ones up in the next couple of weeks as well. And as I said last time, if you're looking for a resource and you can't find it, or we don't have one, please let us know, because there's a good chance if you are looking for it, someone else will be as well, and other people will find it valuable. So let us know what you need, so we can, make sure we're creating resources in response to exactly what you guys are wanting. Some new recipes that have gone on the website in the last few weeks include a not overnight oats. So that is literally me taking a photo of my breakfast as I walk out my front door on my way to work one morning. That's a really quick breakfast, great for staff or older students if you do a breakfast service. There's a rainbow noodles is that next picture, which is really versatile, can use frozen or whatever you've got in season. There's a carrot, orange, and pineapple ice block. If you get the chance to do an ice block before it gets too cold. And then that last one there is from the QCWA Country Kitchens program, and they're called cheesy veggie rolls. So this is a pastry product, which I know is a bit controversial in terms of smart choices. However, it does meet the amber rating. I did put it through the calculator. And the reason why I put it up there is because I do think it's a good vegetarian sausage roll and great for like an alternative occasional use. So some training that we've got coming up. Next week is the convener course, and the week after that is the food safety supervisor course, both done online. And then you can register for those via the Quast website. And just a reminder too that we do have that healthy menu planning course, which is free and self-paced. It's available online. Register and start it via the Quast website. And there's also a volunteer management course. If you're kind of having trouble attracting or retaining volunteers, we encourage you to do this one. It's $50, and I think that once it's paid for, anyone in your school can actually access that course. And so it's self-paced and online as well. So does offering a healthy menu mean that you have to offer a completely new menu? Anyone? No, it doesn't. It is possible to offer tasty, nutritious versions of your popular tuck shop items. We do this through healthier cooking methods and swapping some ingredients for healthier alternatives. So, things we're going to talk about as part of this session include healthier cooking methods, swapping ingredients. We're going to look at in-house versus commercial products or purchases. Look through some examples of healthier versions of popular items. And then also just briefly talk about, are these changes cost effective? We know that sometimes it can be hard to get a change across the line, especially if it costs more money. And so we'll have a quick look at that. I guess I also just want to point out as well that these suggestions aren't just limited to the tuck shop. They can fit into our homes, our catering, if we do birthday parties, or lots of areas of our lives. So the first one is just about healthier cooking methods. So if you add fats when cooking, start by using healthier oils such as olive oil and canola oil. Instead of pan frying, use a spray oil and roast or bake. Some vitamins are also destroyed during preparation and cooking, so leave the skin on produce wherever you can. Then microwave, steam, or stir fry vegetables instead of boiling. I tend to leave the skin on most of my vegetables as well because I simply can't be bothered peeling them. Salt is hidden in many of our foods, particularly that we purchase, so it's a good idea to avoid adding it when cooking where we can. Use salt-reduced stocks and sauces and try adding some olive oil, lemon juice at the end of cooking to enhance the flavour. And herbs and spices can be used to add delicious flavors without the need of salt as well. So some healthy swaps or some simple swaps that we can have a little look at. And I guess just a reminder too that these are based on both the Australian Dietary Guidelines and Education Queensland Smart Choices policy. So if a recipe says to use butter, swap it out for an oil-based spread or margarine. If it calls for cream, you can switch it out for Greek or natural yogurt or use evaporated milk. And if you're going to make nachos that called for corn chips, you can make a DIY crunch by toasting some pita bread, or you can use a whole roast potato as a base instead of those corn chips. So now you guys can have a go. Feel free to come off mute so we can have a discussion here. Can you think of some things that might be simple swaps for white bread? Yep. Wholemeal bread or wraps. Great. Well done. For pizza bases, and some of you might already use these in your tuck shop anyway. Yep. Some wraps. Yep. Some naan bread bases. Okay. Yep. And then full cream dairy products. What on English muffins? Perfect. What might we swap full cream dairy products out with? Yep, low fat dairy products. Perfect. And evaporated milk. Great. Um, what about coconut cream? Might be a bit tricky, this one. It's all right. I'll talk about it in the next slide. And then if you've got some mince, what might be a simple swap that you could swap it out with to make it a bit of a healthier version? Yep, Heart Smart Mince. Perfect. All right, so we'll just click over and we'll see how we went. So first one, absolutely whole grain or wholemeal bread. Light rye is also a lovely soft bread that doesn't necessarily look like a healthier alternative. And sometimes you can ease these changes in by having a slice of white bread and a slice of wholemeal. That's quite visually appealing as well. Someone said, yep, use English muffins for pizza bases, and they're a great guide for a portion size as well. Um, and the next one, yep, low fat dairy products, which I think everybody got. And then, so if you ask, so coconut cream and coconut milk is generally quite high in saturated fats, which is something that we should try and avoid. If a recipe calls for coconut cream, you can replace it with evaporated milk and a little bit of coconut essence, and you'll still get that coconut flavor through. And then mince, yep, so you swap it out for a lean mince. And I also popped lentils in there as well, and I'll talk about this in the next slide. So I've mentioned this term healthicizing a couple of times, but what does it actually mean? If you were to Google it, you probably wouldn't find a definition, but in healthy food speak, it generally means um, looking for ways that you can like upsize your meal, but in a healthier way. So how can we make it healthier, potentially bulkier? So it's like upsizing, but better. The best example that I can think of is just looking at your basic bolognese. So instead of making spaghetti bolognese with pasta, mince, passata, onion, and garlic, think about ways that you can make it healthier. The addition of grated vegetables, such as carrot and zucchini, is an easy start. I also like to use red lentils to help create bulk, and the texture of lentils or these lentils is very similar to the mince, and so it often goes unnoticed. It makes the dish go further without having to add more mince. There are a lot of ways that you can healthicize menu items in your tuck shop. So one that we talk about often is making sure nuggets are served as part of a meal. So that's an example of healthicizing. Adding frozen spinach to fruit smoothies, making sure any Mexican dishes have beans mixed through, and serving a veg-based mac and cheese. So instead of using a cream sauce, potentially using like a pureed cauliflower base instead of that cheese sauce makes it a healthier alternative. And I am currently just working on a cauli mac and cheese recipe. So hopefully that will hit the website soon. Just got to do some last minute tweaking. And so, when we make something in-house, we have control over the ingredients. We don't have to add salt because we don't need to preserve that product. When we're buying products in, we have no control over what's added in terms of preservatives or salt. So, in-house meal prep can be done in bulk and then portioned for the age of the students. For example, a pasta serving for a primary school kid is going to be much smaller than that of a senior high school student. If you're buying pasta dishes in, it might just come as one size and you have no control over the size of that packaging. When you cook in bulk, the cost per serve is lower, allowing you to make a greater profit on that dish. And smart choice rating for in-house dish is likely to be healthier than that of a commercially bought equivalent. For example, pizza, if it's made in-house with an English muffin, lean meat, and cheese, is going to be green. However, if you do a commercially bought in product, they're automatically going to be amber or red. So just to look through an example of how this works in action, I guess, is so traditional fried rice uses white rice. It's fried, generally includes bacon, and vegetables may be limited to peas and corn. In a simple swaps or a healthier version, we can include some brown rice, and sometimes mixing it up with a bit of white rice actually creates a different texture. Um, you can bake it in a dish in the oven, which means you use less oil, and you also don't have to stand there standing next to the stovetop while you're cooking it. You can replace the bacon with reduced fat or salt reduced ham, or leave it out altogether to make it a vegetarian option. And you can add lots of different vegetables to fried rice, not just peas and corn, carrot, mushroom, capsicum. The list goes on. So kind of it can be very varied based on season, what you can get in, but also, don't be afraid to look in your freezer as well, frozen broccoli, frozen cauliflower, things like that. So as a result, we have a dish here that's a much healthier version because it's lower in salt, it's lower in fat, and it's higher in vegetables. So when we're talking about fried rice as well, we do encourage people to use a salt-reduced soy sauce wherever you can. So another example is a muffin. So along those same lines. So instead of using white flour, you could use half wholemeal, half white, and this increases the fiber content, and it doesn't really change the texture or the flavor of the muffin. If the recipe calls for butter, just swap it out for polyunsaturated vegetable spread, and this helps reduce the saturated fat content. And look for ways that you can reduce the sugar. You can do this by adding apple puree, mashed banana, or other fruit. Adding fruit also increases that fiber content as well. And if you've got milk in a muffin, again, you just look for a skim milk or a reduced fat milk. So if you have a recipe that works really well in your tuck shop and you want to make some changes to it to make it healthy, it can take some tweaking and it can take a few goes. So don't lose heart if you have a go and you can't perfect it first round in. That's all good. Just keep going, keep persisting, and you will get there to like a healthier version. So can making these changes be cost effective for your tuck shop? Absolutely it can. So when you account for cooking in bulk and using your freezer, it brings the cost down. It can also be cost effective because you're not paying for regular delivery of items because you're making them in-house. You can also, it's about repurposing some leftovers, for example, using fruit in baking. So how many bananas get thrown out because they're brown on the outside? So these bananas, instead of chucking them out, they're best for baking and smoothing. Smoothies, not smoothing. And if you're making things a bit more in-house or you're healthicizing them, it reduces that need for a minimum spend from suppliers. So you might not necessarily buying things that you don't need. So I guess even though I'm talking about all of this making in-house and making it yourself, I just want to flag that sometimes there are times where you do need to buy things in, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But I'm just saying that, let's look at what we're providing as part of our tuck shop service and work out what can we do in-house that might be healthier and save us some money compared to what we're buying in. So, there's a place for both making in-house and for buying in as well. So, as a Quast member, you do have access to our menu health check service for free each year. To do this, you can just head to our website and look for the menu health check listed under membership. There you can upload your menu and it comes through to our team. We run it through Smart Choices and we rate your menu with red, amber, and green apples, like the picture there on the right. Our system will generate an automatic rating for you, and we send this through along with some suggestions for improvement. If you do wish to participate in this service, you're absolutely welcome. But I just encourage you to include as much information as you can. So, excuse me. So things like if it's something's made on site or if something's bought in, make sure you give us that little bit of info. And so if you want to give us a bit more of a background story, feel free just to email us your menu with those notes in the email so that then we can, I guess, rate your menu as accurately as we can. So feel free to email that to me or just to the Quast team. You're more than welcome. Does anybody have any questions? All good. Must just be so thorough, hey? So we do have a simple swaps resource that is on the website. I will send it through to everybody as part of my post meeting email as well. So you can have it as a PDF, but you can also find it on the website. And what's next? So, our meeting in 2 weeks is going to be all about breakfast in the tuck shop. This one's ideal for tuck shops that help out with OSH, schools who provide a free brekkie club, and for those where there may be a demand for an early service. For example, if staff or students are on site for school activities before school and they're happy to purchase food prior to the school day starting. And then term 2 dates, I think we just decided on them last week. I think it will be week 4, 6, and 8. But we'll pop them up on the website soon. Topics will include an allergy management in the tuck shop, as well as a communication session. If you do have a topic or some ideas that you would like covered in these sessions, please let me know. You guys are the ones that are on the ground doing all of the work. And so I want to make sure that we're providing topics that are interesting and relevant to you guys. As always, the recording of the session will be made available in a few days on the Quast website, but I will email out the PowerPoint and any links to that have been mentioned to everybody. And please keep in touch. We're here to support you, and that's what we like doing. So reach out if you've got any questions or queries. And then that's it. That's a wrap. No worries. Make sure everybody stays safe with the crazy weather happening. And we'll see you all again in a couple of weeks.